my name is Jessica.
And I'm Catherine.
And we are here to discuss 4 types of breathing for singing.
Yep, the purpose of this video is to familiarize folks with the 4 main types of breathing, specifically clavicular, thoracic, abdominal, and balanced, or arpeggio. In this video, we will provide brief demonstrations of each of these breathing types and discuss the experiences and occurrences found within singing and in everyday life.
We will be talking probably quite a bit about muscular antagonism, and that is when 2 or more sets of muscles contract in opposing directions. For breathing for singing, it's actually extremely important for the muscles to do that because it allows us to control the airflow through the larynx, which creates phonation. We'll begin with clavicular breathing, and Catherine is going to demonstrate this for us. It's also known as the upper chest breath, which uses the upper part of the chest to breathe in and out. The inspiratory phase includes the contraction of the diaphragm to move the abdominal viscera out of the way, the elevation of the shoulders, clavicles to increase lung capacity, and the elevation of the upper thorax, basically the upper rib cage, to assist with the increase of lung vital capacity as well. It primarily takes care of the contraction of the abdominal muscles so that they don't move during the inspiratory phase. The expiratory phase includes the release of the diaphragm to its resting position involuntarily, and the use of gravity to drop all the same structures used for the inspiratory phase. So the clavicles, shoulders, and rib cage all just go down with gravity. And just look around at anybody breathing anywhere, and you'll see this type of breathing in action.
You know, like on the train or the subway, stressed out travelers, they carry most of their attention in their shoulders. I know I do. It's fine this week. So I have the tensed up shoulders in here.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of that.
And we see it in dancers and athletes where they're really trying to contain a strong core abdominal area. So the breathing mechanism has to go up into the shoulders and clavicle areas in order to support that.
Right. And then in singing, my experience as a singer, especially in my earlier years, I think there's definitely, like, clavicular breathing was definitely the dirty word.
Absolutely.
Growing up. You did not want
not
that
do
release
it.
to move, don't, you know what I mean?
Keep
Don't
it
look
down,
like it's
keep it
breathing.
down.
Yes, exactly. So that's my experience with clavicular breathing. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, the next type, thoracic breathing, as Jessica will demonstrate. It is characterized by the expansion of the mid and lower thorax within the inhalation phase. It is the action of the external intercostal muscles right up around this area right here. You can see the expansion happening much more apparent, but also notice that there is no clavicular breathing. You do not see just the shoulders move at all. Movement is limited primarily to the upper rib cage where the external and intercostal muscles are located. And then in my experience with thoracic breathing, I haven't really run into any kind of do or don't. I mean, it's higher seated, so it wasn't addressed, and so I figured that was off limits, at least when I was much younger.
I did have one teacher try to explain to me like the lower rib cage type breathing when I was younger, and I didn't really understand it to begin with. Just recently I've come into contact with a breathing method we'll talk about a little bit later on, the balanced, which also includes that area. And it's the use of that muscular antagonism that we talked about in the beginning that becomes extremely important, and it's helpful in using that thoracic type of breathing. But in everyday life, not
yeah, you don't really
seen.
see it. I mean, I guess when someone's a little more relaxed, when they're not traveling, perhaps. I mean, for A, we never really know. But I've never paid much attention in all honesty.
So the third type of breathing we're going to talk about is abdominal breathing. Catherine's demonstrating, also known as the belly breath. It basically relies on the release and contraction of the stomach muscles to breathe in and out. The relaxation occurs in the rectus, in the obliques, and the transverse muscles, and the quadratus lumborum, which is basically the front, side, and back areas of the lower torso area. Distension occurs in 2 different areas when we talk about the differences between male and females when they use this breathing method. As you can see by Catherine's demonstration, the distension is occurring in the hypogastric region, which is the area located between the navel and the pubic bone area. And then for men, this actually occurs in a much higher area between the lower thorax and the navel area. And this is primarily due to the fact that women have a uterus and men don't, and therefore we need to displace much lower than men when they breathe in this type of manner. Basically, the expiratory phase just includes the contraction of any muscles that were used down here back into their original position in order to create the flow of air back out of your system. And in general, this type of breathing method isn't thought about or used on a daily basis by the general population.
I don't think so. I think maybe more therapeutic uses, say within meditation or yoga or even stress relief, go figure.
Yeah.
They talk about breathing deep, which would be abdominal breathing. I guess that's what I would translate it into. I mean, I don't know anyone that will advocate breathe through your shoulders.
Right.
So that's where I've seen abdominal breathing.
In early breathing, for singing that I've encountered, like my teacher would have me lay on the floor, and that would basically make your shoulders and thorax not be able to move, and so you had to displace the air somewhere, so it went down.
Yeah, and then going back to the previously mentioned differences in gender, I think in my background, being in music education primarily, you definitely see that abdominal breathing for those educators who have a good knowledge, who have a strong knowledge of the voice. They know that abdominal breathing is what you're aiming for. However, it's not really clearly understood. They know that the breathing should be low-seated, but they don't necessarily know where.
Especially between the differences in gender.
Definitely. Like most choral conductors are males, so they're kind of advocating that the breathing's higher, in the navel to the lower thorax area, as opposed to the lower one. And whether that's a matter of not being comfortable discussing that with singers, or I'm not sure, but I think it's really important to not just advocate abdominal breathing as necessary, but to really understand it, to know what's really going on.
And the physiology
what's different between the two. All right, so the final one, balance or appoggio. It is characterized as the combination of thoracic and abdominal breathing. For inhalation, contraction occurs through the diaphragm and the external intercostals, right around that area. And it is accompanied by some relaxation in the abdominal musculature, and the result is an expansion that extends beyond the base of the thorax and through the middle to lower abdomen, which you would see in abdominal breathing. However, within balanced breathing, what I've noticed and experienced as a singer is that the posterior area, like the back muscles, for instance, the quadratus lumborum and the serratus posterior inferior muscle groups, they definitely get a lot more attention, at least within the muscular antagonism. Yes, and within that kind of breathing, you're going for a more, like its definition, balanced. You're using more muscle groups, and there's just a larger breathing apparatus. There's a lot more to work with and a lot more to control, absolutely. I suppose. And I guess in my experiences, at least my recent experiences within the past couple of years, is the balanced breathing is really what I've been working more towards,
absolutely,
as opposed to just isolating a certain muscle group to facilitate better breathing. I think it's a lot more efficient than just one particular.
It's the ability of that entire area, the lower thorax as well as the abdominal area, to use that muscular antagonism in order to create a great airflow for singing. All right, and that concludes our video on breathing. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you for tuning in. Take care.